Hello?
Hello, Mr. Melnick?
Yes, is this Rosmik?
Yes, this is Razin Kanarjian here.
Wonderful.
How
yes.
are you today?
I'm all right. I'm doing okay.
Great, thank you.
And I got your email, and but this is a great time for me.
Wonderful. I'm glad. And first, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with me. And I just want to say really quickly, this is Razin Kanarjian of WJCU Armenian Radio and with the Armenian Genocide Centennial Committee of Ohio.
Yes.
We're here on a recorded line with Mr. Daniel Melnick, who's we're going to interview right now. He's graciously given us some time so we can talk to him regarding his newest book, The Ash Tree, and also his thoughts regarding the Armenian genocide and what we have coming up. And I just wanted to start, Mr. Melnick, by saying that we're going to be having, as you know, some events coming up here in April. April 9th, we'll be having a speaker coming in, and then April 24th weekend.
Yes.
And then in May, we'll be going to Washington, D.C. for commemoration. Are you going to be doing anything specifically for the April 24th weekend in connection with the Ash Tree?
Yes, I'll be in California, actually, on the 24th. I'm arriving on the 23rd. And the publication of the Ash Tree is meant to coordinate with it. And I'll be participating in Fresno, California, with some of the activities there, and then I'll be going to Los Angeles and to San Francisco, and so there will be some readings and such, and talks about the novel and about the genocide, the aftermath of the genocide, which the novel is concerned with.
Yes, and that's actually that's great because the largest, I believe, Armenian population outside of Armenia is in Los Angeles. So I'm sure you'll have a great audience in Los Angeles. So aren't you also going to be doing a talk at the Beechwood Library, I believe, here in Cleveland in the coming months?
That's correct. On June 15th, part of the Cuyahoga County Library System, the Beechwood Library. And that should be fine. They have a nice hall where I'll do a reading, and it was wonderful that the library is very concerned about the history of the Armenian genocide, and they were looking for someone to talk about it, and so it was great. I think for the novel, it's important. To broadcast that knowledge.
I agree very much. And before we get into the Ash Tree, I just wanted, because I've interviewed a couple other people in regards to what's been going on for the Armenian Genocide Weekend. And one of the people I actually interviewed was Dr. Peter Balakian. I'm not sure if you know.
Yes, I do know him.
Yeah. He's a very strong Armenian literary voice. He's written about the genocide. And you're someone who's a non-Armenian, and I always say, when I host Armenian radio, it's very important for Armenians to listen, but I think it's always even more important. The most important thing I do is for non-Armenians. And coming as a non-Armenian, what is your connection? What is your writing about the Armenian genocide? What is your connection to the Armenian genocide?
Right. There are a couple of connections. One is that I just think as a citizen that it's so important that the United States, participate in the acknowledgement of the genocide and ultimately asking Turkey to acknowledge it and simply for the health of their culture and their society, as well as just for basic human justice. And so that's important to me. But also, I'm married to an Armenian who is an artist, actually, and her father was an Armenian poet in Fresno, and so the experience in 1965, really, of becoming part of that family exposed me to a tremendous amount of the Armenian culture and coming to learn the stories and understand what the genocide meant for
great.
that family. He was a survivor, and so that was significant. His teachers were part of that Armenian Renaissance just before the genocide, and that the genocide, unfortunately, led to the death of many of those poets and writers.
Yes, exactly, and my as you noted, my grandfather was also a survivor of the Armenian genocide, and it's something where my family, me growing up, being a first-generation Armenian American here in the United States, it's something that you hear about from the day you're born, and I still hear about, and we still talk about it and discuss it to this day. And I agree with you; it's very important. And what are your thoughts regarding Turkey's response to the Armenian genocide? What do you think? Where we stand today. What are your thoughts on their response?
Right. I see some small incremental changes. That I think the premier or president, I'm not sure, Erdogan, has acknowledged that there were great losses and has, I guess, been in some diplomatic communication with Armenia. But the problem, of course, is that the scale of and the causes of the genocide are not acknowledged, and I think they need to be further steps on Turkey's part have to be taken.
I agree, and I think I agree with you because we now live in a day where we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have so much access to information, and in such a quick way we can find out via Google, so much information. The access to information is so quick. And I think, what's happened with Turkey is more people in the country are becoming educated. And, it's the assassination of Hrant Dink many years ago.
That's right.
I think it really is, I think the storm clouds that were hanging over Turkey are maybe starting to slightly clear up here because more independent, free voices are starting to perk up in Turkey. Now, when I interviewed Peter Balakian, he said, there's many different turkeys out there. There's not just one turkey.
Not just one. That's right.
Exactly.
In fact, I actually wrote a review for the Plain Dealer, which is our local newspaper, of course, of Orhan Pamuk's one of his novels. And Pamuk is someone who has stood up to acknowledge the genocide and as a Turk, and was even prosecuted, but then they withdrew the case against him. So there are many turkeys. I'm sure there are. That's right.
Exactly. Now turning to your book, The Ash Tree, I want to just talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
Can you tell us just some background on the Ash Tree and what a little bit about it and what inspired you to write The Ash Tree?
Absolutely, sure. And essentially, I had heard so many stories from my in-laws and also witnessed so much of the Armenian culture there. And in fact, when we came to Cleveland in 1972, they came and visited us, and I was to them here in Cleveland. I wanted to put those stories into it. And so what I did was there have been there is some writing about the stories of the Araks family, and most of them are from the point of view actually of the men. And so I wanted to open it up, and because my late mother-in-law was a dynamic person, and
as many Armenian mothers are.
This is it, right? And so I wanted to write a novel that would be almost like a conversation between my two, the male and female, the survivor, and my mother-in-law was born in Hartford, Connecticut. Yeah, she was an Armenian, but she was born in Connecticut. And so between the two points of view, and so that's what I've done in the novel. I've tried to trace their relationship from the courtship in the 20s all the way through to a sort of new tragedy that occurred in the 70s, in the early 70s, when they lost one of their children. And so, but it's very much, though, about the families constructing a new life, and with not forgetting, but living as full a life as they could in America.
Yeah, the Armenian genocide is such an important fabric of all Armenians, and just the collection of those stories are so important. And not only the stories that you heard, or the stories that I heard, or the stories that other people have heard. It's the Armenian collective.
That's right.
The Armenian collective regarding the collective thought regarding the genocide, and how we feel about it today, and how it's affected Armenians to this day, and how it's affected not only Armenians outside of Armenia, but most importantly, the Armenians inside of Armenia today.
That's right. Both.
Exactly. And that's who we really have to concentrate on as well. I always tell people, for Armenia to prosper, we have to make sure the country of Armenia continues to prosper. And I think one of the things that we very much have to work towards is the recognition of the Armenian genocide. And the funny thing is, the rest of the world seems to recognize it. Most countries, and even the states in the United States here have, on a state level, recognized it. Yes. But the United States still has been slow to do that, and we hope that one day it'll happen. And through the works and of authors like you, hopefully, maybe one day that will become a reality. But the last thing, the last thing I wanted to just ask you is, when your book is going to be coming out April 24th, 2015, and one more time, can you tell us when your book reading will be, and how can people purchase your book when it is released on April 25th?
All right, very good. So my reading will be on June 15th in Cleveland at the Beechwood Library in Beechwood. And the book, the publisher has informed me that the actual release of the book will be in the middle of May, on May 15th. Okay. And it will be available on Barnes & Noble and on their website, and of course on Amazon. It's already open for pre-order on Kindle. And then in addition, it will be it can be ordered by local bookstores from the publisher, which is the West of the West Center. So I think there are many ways in which people can read it and explore it.
Great. Well, Mr. Melnick, I want to thank you again very much for taking the time to speak with me here. This is Razum Kunarjan here, and
thank you.
This is now the conclusion of our interview with Mr. Daniel Melnick, who is the author of The Ash Tree, and we just gave you the information regarding his talk on June 15th at Beechwood Library in Beechwood, Ohio, and also the release of his book, which will be available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. And you can also order it via your local bookstore. So,
wonderful.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us, and we look forward to hearing you speak in June, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Yes, bye-bye.
Bye.